The west coast of the United States is a heavily populated area of the country overall. From San Diego and Los Angeles to San Francisco and Sacramento in California, and Portland and Seattle in the Pacific Northwest, the west coast is home to over 50 million Americans. But while the entire region is home to a lot of people, this large area in the middle is almost entirely empty. So why don't more people live in the empty west coast? Often when one thinks of the west coast, it's of the tech-heavy Bay Area or Seattle regions, the Southern California beaches and Hollywood, or even the quirky, bicycle-friendly Portland, Oregon. But nestled in between these areas lies a beautiful stretch of land comprising the northern portion of California and the southern part of Oregon, a region also known as the state of Jefferson, which we'll get to in a little bit, but for now let's run through the geography of this region as a whole. Starting in the southern part of the empty west, the California coast is renowned for its rugged beauty, with rocky bluffs, golden beaches, and huge marine ecosystems, but also its vast forests such as the Tahoe National Forest, Trinity National Forest, Six River National Forest, and many more. These forests are home to some of the tallest and oldest trees on Earth. And protruding out of these forests is the southern end of the Cascade Mountain Range and the northern end of the Sierra Nevada Mountain Range. This would include one of the most prominent mountain peaks in the entire country, Mount Shasta, with a height of 14,179 feet. The U.S. Geological Survey currently monitors the mountain for volcanic activity and ranks it as a very high threat for volcanic eruption. But while the Oregon Trail and Columbia River drew settlers to the northern part of Oregon, and the gold rush and port of San Francisco lured vast amounts of people to the central part of California, the large swath in between didn't have much of anything pulling people to settle it, which is why growth during this period of time was rather anemic compared to its northern and southern neighbors. Today, the empty west is one of the least populated areas of the country, and much of this has to do with the natural geography of the region. Outside of the Sacramento Valley in Northern California, this entire region is very mountainous. Between the Sierra Nevada and Cascade Mountain ranges, there's relatively few low-lying flatlands available to establish large cities. And those that do exist, such as in the Rogue Valley in southern Oregon, are fairly small and not amenable to establishing transportation infrastructure, such as large ports. The Rogue River, for example, is much smaller than the Columbia River that connects Portland, Oregon to the Pacific Ocean. And it's this complicated natural geography that makes it so hard to build out infrastructure. Highways, rails, and even ports are incredibly challenging to build within this region. Even on the coast, the Northern California and Oregon beaches are often rugged and rocky with few areas where a sizable port, such as the ones found in Seattle, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, could be built. It's for this region that the largest city in the empty west is Eugene, Oregon. With about 380,000 people within the metro region, Eugene exists in the far southern tip of the Willamette Valley. This would be about 1/7 the size of the Portland metro region. Eugene would be followed by the Medford, Oregon metro region with 223,000 people, and the Chico, California metro region with about 211,000 people. Bend, Oregon, and Redding, California round out what would be the only other medium-sized cities in the region with 99,000 and 94,000 people respectively. And it's because of this overall lack of infrastructure and general difference in geography that has led to some calling for a new state to be made entirely. Some watching this video might better know the general area I've been talking about as the long-desired 51st state of Jefferson. Tracing its roots back to the early 1940s, residents of several counties in Northern California and Southern Oregon proposed the formation of a brand new state. This was largely due to perceived neglect from their respective state governments and feeling alienated from their urban counterparts. These residents would choose the name Jefferson in honor of the third U.S. president, Thomas Jefferson, who championed the ideals of rural independence and agrarian democracy. The region even went so far as to inaugurate a governor and design a flag featuring two X's, signifying their double cross by the Oregon capital in Salem and California capital in Sacramento. Modern proponents argue that their rural communities lack adequate representation in state government, leading to discontent over issues such as land use regulations, taxation, and natural resource management.